ADEC's Smart Start program offers first-time practice owners their deepest discounts on equipment and furniture for 2 years, plus other savings and complimentary services. Ask your ADEC rep for details and start smart with ADEC. Join Doctors Savanah Craig and Ronnetta Sartor as we navigate life beyond graduation. Real conversations about forging our own paths in our early years in our careers. There's a reason it's called practicing dentistry. All right, welcome back to another episode of Beyond Graduation. I'm Savanah Craig, and with me as always,
I'm Ronnetta Sartor.
So this week we are, end of February. I was going to say mid-February. And the sick is going around everywhere. So we thought we would talk about what that looks like in dentistry as an associate or a practice owner, and what you do when you don't feel well enough to practice. I feel a lot of guilt about it. How do you feel?
For sure. So almost 3 weeks ago now, the flu got us. And by us, I mean, it started with one of my assistants and then another one got sick. But I'm pretty sure she and my front desk person got sick from their kids because flu type A kind of went through the schools pretty bad here. And it snuck up on me because I was feeling fine. And then I wasn't.
Yeah.
And it kind of got me. And, I just was not in any shape to argue with myself or, beat myself down for not being able to be there because I just physically could not do it.
Yeah.
I was just feeling so bad. And so I had my team call all of the patients and let them know that I was feeling really bad, like sick-wise.
Yeah.
And that I didn't want them to get sick or to spread it even worse through the office.
Right.
And so we were going to have to cancel today, but we'd do our best to get them in what worked for their schedule as quickly as we could. And, when I got back and saw a lot of those patients, sometimes you have the thought that the patients might be upset with you.
Yeah.
Because you can't be there. And, when I got back, because my voice is still a little weird from it, the patients were really concerned. A lot of them were asking me like how I was doing. And I was like, thank you for your understanding and everything. I would have been no help to you. Like I could barely sit up straight. And, a lot of them were understanding. And I even apologized to them there. And, for the most part, patients understand that we're humans too. And we get sick just like they do. What about you? What was that process like for you?
Yeah, it was funny because it also came on out of nowhere. Like I was at work the night before and all of a sudden getting ready to leave. And I'm like, I think I have a fever. I think I have chills. Like, what is going on? And so this had been my first experience of being so sick that I felt like I was going to have to miss work. And dentistry doesn't really have a good like sick days or, like my husband, when he gets sick, he could still work from home if possible. And that's not really a thing. Or, my friends that are nurses, there's other people to cover shifts. And that's not always the case in dentistry. It kind of worked out in that I do work in a group practice. So some of the other associates and partners were able to divide my schedule amongst themselves. So our front desk called patients and said, Dr. Craig is going to be out today. Are you okay seeing another provider? If not, we can reschedule you with her when she's back. So that helped out. But I did go to work and everyone was like, you look terrible. Please go home and do not get us sick. So I don't necessarily call it that I called off because I went and they sent me home.
But I think the bigger conversation we should have here, though, is that you felt so compelled that you went to work instead of staying home and calling out. And I think for the most part, most of us, because we understand that some patients had to coordinate with work and all that sort of stuff, and we don't want to inconvenience them. Yeah, it's really tough. It's really tough. Especially, I don't know what they did with your schedule. I want you to tell me about that. But because I'm the only doctor in my
Right.
office, I feel like it hits us even harder.
Absolutely. And I imagine, had you not been physically incapacitated, you may have tried to go to work.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would have. I
Yeah.
would have. But like, yeah, I couldn't, like, getting home the day that it hit really bad. Do not do this at home, folks. But my head hurt so bad, it was really hard to see to get home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was like, it's not safe for me to try to get on the road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But there
Mhm.
is that, I don't want to say dentistry only, but I think in our society, missing work is such a thing, especially when in our fields, it inconveniences so many people.
For sure.
But yeah, so the way that my schedule got, so I went to work and the other two docs that were there were like, you look awful and we don't want you sick. But they looked at the schedule. There was at least enough coverage for hygiene. So we knew we were
Okay.
good there.
Good.
But then it actually kind of worked out the way that my schedule had broken up and their schedules had some holes. So we were just able to slide the patients into their schedule. And my assistant stayed so that they could run additional columns, or you know what I mean? They just sort of absorbed my schedule into theirs. And a couple of patients
Were rescheduled.
were
Or only
rescheduled
wanted to see you.
who were like, it's not a big deal. I'll come back and get my fillings with Dr. Craig whenever. But it was one of those really, thank God for group practice sort of moments, because it could have derailed a whole day. But
When it happens for us, which this is the first time it's ever happened for me
I was
too.
going to say, have you ever had to close the office for sickness? Yep.
But pretty much the people that could work, I allowed them to. So hygiene, they were able to run their schedules, and I just looked at radiographs from home. Front desk team, they were able to get caught up on some stuff because they had less patients there. So they had some administrative stuff that they were able
Yeah.
to get caught up on. So it wasn't a complete waste of a day. But you're in Ohio, so this is a little bit different. But in South Carolina, we got snow like
Yes.
maybe like a month ago.
Yeah.
And I don't think you had any snow when you were in residency here, but in South Carolina, if it's an idea of snow, things close down. It doesn't have to be actual. And so we did experience, the whole situation with deciding whether to close when it did snow. What about, you're in Ohio, so snow is a completely different thing for you guys.
So most of the time, business as usual. We did get a pretty interesting, I think it was a couple of weeks before you guys got snow, because those couple of snowstorms were south. So actually the southern part of Ohio and like Kentucky got some pretty bad snow. And it was kind of interesting. Ohio does this thing where it's like county by county snow emergencies. And so they can set like what they call a level 3 snow emergency, which is like it's literally illegal to drive in that county because it's so unsafe. And the cutoff was actually the county just south of the city. And so we have a couple of team members that drive from there. And so the office was still open and like where I live was fine. But we had some team members call out. So we were sharing assistance, and a lot of patients didn't want to come in. So it all sort of worked out the way. Dentistry is one of those things, and I don't know if you have this experience, I bet you do, where even your most chaotic schedule somehow works out, where just enough things shift or fall off, or, even when you come in and you're like, this is never going to work. It's like somebody else is freed up, and at the end of the day, you're like, oh, it actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Don't get me wrong, there are days where you run behind and things are awful, but 9 times out of 10, things just shift into place. And on the snow day, that's what sort of happened, where I had a hole in my schedule, somebody else was busy, so we shared that assistant and it worked out.
Yeah, I think for our snow day, so the schools were closed for 2 days and then had a delayed start.
Okay.
And so when it started snowing and it actually stuck, that's when I sent a blast to the patients and was like, hey, we're going to be closed for tomorrow, but we'll resume. That was a Wednesday. We'll resume that Thursday because, you know, we have some people that travel that's on our team, and I didn't want, you know, the patients or team members getting hurt, getting to work.
Absolutely.
It's not that serious.
Yeah. And I do think on those days where the weather is questionable, like, people don't want to come anyway.
They don't. So you want to err on the side of caution.
We always laugh. I mean, there's always anyone's looking for any excuse to not come to the dentist, mostly. And so you're like, oh, it's raining. Patients are going to fall off the schedule. Oh, it's sunny. Patients are going to fall off.
Oh, it's snowing.
Definitely not coming. But yes, we do still get enough snow sometimes where we're not totally immune to the weather, and just because we're in Ohio.
Understood. We'd love to hear your experiences and what you do on your sick days, or if you have inclement weather in your area. What's your process? What's your protocol? How do you feel? Do you feel the guilt that we feel too? You know how there's like mom guilt? Do we call it like dentist guilt?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you feel the dentist guilt?
That you're a human? How dare you?
Yeah, and have to call out because you don't feel well. Either way, we want to hear about it. Let us know how you feel.
We'll catch you back next time.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Beyond Graduation. If you enjoyed this week's episode, be sure to share it with a friend. Connect with us on social media at Savanah Craig DDS and at Dr._Sartor. And remember, you are not alone on this journey.
ADEC certified pre-owned equipment is a sustainable, affordable choice that makes genuine ADEC equipment available to every doctor. Each package is sold on a first-come, first-served basis. So, if you see one you like, contact your dealer. For more information, go to www.adec.com/find a dealer. Thank you for listening to Beyond Graduation, brought to you by Ignite DDS and Future Dentists. This episode was sponsored by Ignite DDS Coaching. We build self-determined futures. For more information, please reach out to the Ignite DDS team.